Let's talk a little bit about shotgun shells. You can go into any store and it seems like there are so many to choose from. How in the world do you know what to buy? So I'm gonna tell you just a few things to look for so it isn't too complicated. First of all, make sure you're buying the correct shell for your gun. If you shoot a 12 gauge, you wanna buy 12 gauge shells, but they can come in a lot of colors. They can come in red, blue, white, green. They will say on them whether they're a 12 gauge. And the box will also say whether it's 12 gauge. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you're buying the right size shell for your gun. 20 gauge shells only come in yellow, and that's for safety. You don't want to put a smaller shell down your barrel, it might get stuck. So make sure if you see a yellow shell, don't have it on your person or anywhere near you if you're shooting a 12 gauge gun. So let's talk a little bit about what's on the box. As a female shooter, I like to shoot a low load shell or a light load. It's called a couple different things. That means it's going to do the least amount of recoil, and that's what we want. The best ammo to me is one that says 7/8 ounce. That is the lightest load, and it feels great to shoot. You can find it for 20 gauge guns, you can find it for 12 gauge guns. It's not as commonplace in the market, but more and more shooters are going to it. Even the guys who realize they're not missing any more targets by shooting a little bit lighter load. So you want to look for that 7/8. If you can't find that, the next alternative, which is very common, is a 1 ounce. Those are available almost everywhere, and that's a great alternative. What you don't want to do is shoot anything bigger than a 1 ounce. A lot of stores sell 1 1/8, 1 1/4, all these different sizes. You don't want to do those. They will kick you, and you don't need them to break any clay, even in a competition. So look for 1 ounces or 7/8. The last piece of information I want you to look at on the box is the shot size. Typically, shells for clay shooting come in 7.5, 8s, and 9s. Any of those are fine, but this is how they are different. A 7.5 shot is a little bit bigger, so there are fewer of them in the shell, but they go farther and faster and stay together. They're great for a faraway target or any general target. With 8s, they're a little bit smaller, so there are more of them in this little shell. And 9s are even smaller. I love 9s. There are a lot of them in it. They spread out really quickly, and they're perfect for a close-up shot. If you're a novice, any of those will do, particularly 7.5s and 8s. But if you're a little bit more advanced, you can choose that shot size you want and put it in your gun rather than changing a choke to get the pattern spread you want to achieve the best target.